playing with fire, bring sport alive. Be with the fuse you light, you're dynamite. You made my day when you walked inside town beside me, whispered with your eyes, let's go. You made me say, what's your name, girl, you're lonely. Can I call you if I ever go down this road? And I can't seem to find the thing I want to say. Girl, you made my day. Back on nowhere to go, crank up the radio. No talking all night long, I'm writing you a song. You got the pedal down, can't help but laugh out loud. Two kids ain't
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
14:20 in the morning, 14 minutes and 20 seconds worth of sports talk to get you through your daily commute. Hot takes, recaps, best bets, and a little humor to get your day going in the right direction. Sit back, grab your coffee, and let's get into it. All right, 14:20 in the morning, take two. You guys won't even see what happened there. Anyways, 14:20 in the morning for this March the 30th, 2023. Today's show is brought to you by our newest sponsor, but provided by Belly Up Sports. Thank you very much to Belly Up for getting us this new sponsor. But Caldera Lab, a new sponsor for the show, get 20% by 20% off men's hygiene products by using promo code 1420lab at Caldera Labs today for your men's personal hygiene products today. Thank you very much to Belly Up for getting us this newest sponsor for guys like us for getting a little bit long in the tooth and need a little bit of a pick-me-up for their skin and everything else. But thank you very much, Caldera Labs and Belly Up Sports. Today's the day. It's Christmas, my birthday, and New Year's Eve all wrapped up into one. For some of you, it's March the 30th. For baseball guys like myself, baseball guys and girls around the world, it's opening day. And opening day is the only, everybody knows what that means. It's not a football term. It's not a hockey term. It's not a basketball term. It's a baseball term. And it's the best day of the year for guys like me. It's a day where baseball takes center stage in the sports world, and everybody just gets to sit back and enjoy the game they love. They get to sit there and turn on a game or two or three or whatever it may be, dust off that old hat and jersey that you may have put away the last October when your team got beat out and vowed you wouldn't put that jersey on ever again. You wouldn't watch another game. But during spring training, hope springs eternal and everything else. And you get a smile on your face when this day rolls around every year that you're going to put that jersey on and you're going to go through that 162 game journey that you go through year in, year out. A lot of teams don't get an opportunity to win a World Series, and most teams are already out by Sunday. They know what the season is, but right now every team is starting off at the same level playing field. They're at 0-0, and everybody has a chance as of right now. 3 or 4 hours from now, it might be a little bit different, but as of right now, none of that stuff matters. None of the noise matters that people talk about in the offseason. We're not talking about juice baseballs. We're not talking about dead end baseballs. We're not talking about salary caps and salary floors. We're not talking about the new rules. We're not talking whether they work. We're not worried about, as baseball fans, we're not worried about who's not watching the game and the ways to make the game grow and everything else. We're not talking about Rob Manfred. We're not talking about any of the other stuff. All the negative stuff that you watch and listen to throughout the offseason, it goes away today. And it's a great feeling to be a baseball fan. Like I said, you dust off that jersey and you put it on, you start watching the games. Like this old hat I'm wearing right now, this is from 2013. My first trip out to the Bronx. It's hard to believe it's been 10 years since that all went down. When I went out there for the first time was Mariano's last year. And that's another thing. It's crazy to think that Mariano's, this is the 10th year that he's been gone for the Yankees, and they still haven't been able to find a closer for whatever reason. But Mariano's a once in a lifetime guy. We're not dwelling on the Yankees a whole bunch today, obviously. It's just it's a celebration of baseball. The World Baseball Classic was great, but this is the one that we all start watching a lot more. And it means so much to a lot of people in the game of baseball. People people who watch it, it's hard not to get romantic about the game. And like this little white thing I got in my hand, it can make you crazy and it can make you smile. And it's the best day of the year. It's about putting that jersey on maybe and going to a game for the first time in 6 months, and having the opportunity to see some old friends that sit in the same seat that you do year in, year out, go to the same bar you go to before every game, and the same bartender you get to see year in, year out, and they're happy to see you just as much you're happy to see them. And you start talking about what your team might do and how it's all going to unfold throughout the year, because y'all, like I said, y'all have a chance right now. We're 0-0, and it's such a great feeling to know that your team, as of right now, has a chance to do some damage. You're talking about whether Judge will hit 62 again, or whether he can break the record and get 63. I highly doubt it, because it's only been done once before in the American League. We won't get into the Bonds thing and all that stuff, but people have that thought in their head what might happen this year and how they're going to get through it. It's talk about rookies playing in their very first game right across the league. Yeah, the Yankees have a guy by the name of Volpe. It's opening day in the Bronx today, and he's playing in his first game wearing Brett Gardner's number 11. I'm not sure how I feel about that right now, because Gardy was one of my favorites. It's one of Deanne's favorites to don pinstripes, and he didn't really get the proper send off that he deserved. I thought, yes, he wasn't an all-time great, and he's not a Monument Park guy, but he's one of those guys that probably deserved a better send off. Maybe he'll come to Old Timers Day and start playing with some of his old teammates from back of the World Series team of 2009. You just never know what might happen with the glory of baseball. But it's one of those days where you get to the perfectly manicured field and the perfect green grass and everything else, and the excitement of the day that it brings on a every year, no matter what. If you're a baseball guy, and if you're a baseball dork, you sit there, and you might have a chance to sit with a bunch of buddies, or you might sit with your parents, or you might watch it by yourself, or you can watch the game with me on playback later on today. Well, the link will be up. It's just going to try one of those live stream things today, but it's such a great time to be a baseball fan right now. The athletes are better than they've ever been, and with a day like today, we don't talk about salary, like we don't talk about what these guys make. We don't talk about any of that stuff. It's just about the game of baseball and who's going to win this year, and who's maybe watching a game for the first time and going to a game for the first time ever. There's going to be some kid who walks into the perfect field, no matter if it's in Baltimore or St. Louis or in San Francisco or in LA or San Diego or New York or wherever it may be. It's about the starting pitchers going out there and throwing. It's about seeing a bullpen getting thrown for the first time. It's about those kids who are going to be enjoying the game of baseball for the first time with their parents. And it's about guys like myself who are a little bit older, who are going to be watching a game, and it feels like it's the first time that you're going to watch that game. It's the excitement that you get for your team and for the great game of baseball it's a year in, year out basis, and it's about the journey of 162. And you start to wonder about Sunday or Monday, like why am I putting myself through this again? I do it every year, and everybody who's a baseball fan, they do it every year too. And so it's a great day for the game of baseball, and it's a celebration of the game of baseball, and none of the outside noise matters. The highlights will be on later on tonight, and people will be tuned in, and people will be excited about it, and people will talk about baseball and talk about what's going on there. They won't be talking about the negative stuff just until at least Sunday, right? And that's kind of the way baseball goes. We're not going to pretend that the negative things aren't out there, but for this one glorious day, it is all about the game that we come to love and we come to cherish. And you have hope springs eternal, like I said earlier, and the way it all turns out, and you just love the excitement that it brings. I mean, like you think about what be going on in the Bronx right now. Stands opened up at 9:00 Eastern time. It's 11 Eastern now. Game time's at basically first pitch is 2 hours from right now. So you wonder how things are at Stan's Sports Bar, maybe around the corner over at Yankee Tavern, the actual Yankee Tavern, not this Yankee Tavern. And you wonder how Tony's doing, and you wonder how those guys are all faring out. And if John's working today, if he took the day off, or is he enjoying the game with himself? And you see all those old faces, no matter what ballpark you go to. Everybody has their guy and their spot to go to, and they see people you haven't seen in over 6 months, and you have your seats, and you go and sit there, and you get the hot dog, and you get a beer, and you just enjoy the game for what it is, and the outside noise doesn't matter, and you wonder what's going to happen. It's such a great time of year to be a baseball fan. It's the best. It's hard not to wax poetic and be romantic about the game of baseball. Even if you're not the biggest baseball person, you tend to watch these games a little bit more. and then because it can drag on a little bit and it can get a little bit funky throughout the season. Then your team's all of a sudden your team's 20, 25 games out, and it doesn't much matter, right? And you still go like Nathan Nguyen from Belly Up Sports. He's an Oakland A's fan, and he wrote a good article yesterday talking about the Oakland A's winning 75, 80 games, kind of hopefully, but they're going to do this. And he's very positive young gentleman that talks about his Oakland A's. It's his team, right? And there's nothing you can do. Like, it doesn't matter who your team is today. You got your team has a shot, and winning on opening day, it's the best thing. And I meant to ask the guys last night, and thank you very much to Aaron and Dave from Level the Playing Field and from Bruliana Sports for joining us last night on the baseball eve show, baseball opening day eve show last night. We had a good conversation about the game of baseball, and I was going to ask them, and I forgot to do it. We got talking with so much other stuff. What would be a more important start for a pitcher? Would it be opening day or start the home opener? Like, every team doesn't start at home, obviously, so you wonder which one you would want more, the opening day start or the home opener start. To me, I think I would want the home opener start, because that's your fans and your people that you're out there to try to impress on a nightly basis, and those are the people that mean a lot more to you. The opening day obviously is a big one, but I think the home opener would be a bigger start that I would rather have, and because you have, like I said, you have your fans cheering you on for your first start of the season, and it's one of those things that you can't take for granted, because how many of those starts do you get in your career? A lot of these careers are starting today. There's some careers that won't even get past next week, right? That's just the way baseball goes. There's some guys that are called up for injuries, and they might be getting a start that they're never going to get again. But opening day is the one that you want to play in, and the one that you want to really have a no, Elaine, I have not been to an opening day. Thank you very much for asking me that. She just had it in the comments there that I have not been to an opening day. That's my sister, Elaine Redlinsky. She just, or Elaine Redlinsky-Schworn, have you been to an opening days? She got to go a few years back. I think that they were in Arizona. No, I can't remember where they were at. It doesn't much matter. I'm just jealous about that. She's been to spring training too, and I haven't been to that. It was in Seattle, wasn't it, Elaine? That's where she went to a spring training game or an opening day game, and she's been to spring training games in Arizona, which I haven't been to. Maybe next year we'll get around to doing that. Me and Deanna will hit the highway and everything else. It's one of those things. Yes, I got it right there. There it is. It was in Seattle. Thank you very much, Elaine. There it is. Anyways, it's a great day for a baseball fan to watch these games and have a good time and just sit back, relax, and enjoy the reason why you watch the game. Dust off that old hat that you swore you wouldn't put back on again because you had a situation where your team lost last year. Take that jersey off the rack that you said you wouldn't wear ever again, and enjoy the games today and have a great time doing it, because it's a baseball fan's paradise, and baseball is the most romantic game in the world. It's hard not to be excited about opening day for baseball fans and sports fans alike. And like I said, when you say the name opening day, it only means one sport is back, and that's the great game of baseball, and we love it to death, us baseball dorks around the world. Anyways, there's my talk for the day from and it's brought to you by Caldera Labs. Like I said earlier on, our newest sponsor from the Belly Up Sports Network, and the guys at Caldera Labs for your men's personal hygiene. We got a read to do a little bit later on, but on this day in 1991, the New York Yankees played the Baltimore Orioles in an exhibition game at Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami, Florida. A bit of a precursor for what was soon to come, the home of the Florida Marlins. A crowd of 67,654 people tuned into that or at that game at Joe Robbie Stadium, and they ended up winning the World Series, I think, 6 years later after that. And then Wayne Huizenga dismantled the team. He's the blockbuster guy, I believe, and dismantled that team after that because he couldn't afford to pay his players. And happy birthday to a guy that I don't really care for very much, but Alex Bregman, in my opinion, the most punchable face in baseball, born on this day 29 years ago in Albuquerque, New Mexico, two-time All-Star, two-time World Series champion, drafted second overall in 2015 behind Dansby Swanson, and most notably known, I think, as one of the faces of that no-good cheating Astros 2017. I have forgiven, but I will not forget about that whole thing with Alex Bregman, that smirk on his face. It's a very punchable face that he has, but like I said, I have forgiven, but I will never forget that 2017, because that's my favorite Yankee team of the recent past with Didi Gregorius and the Judge, and you had Gary Sanchez come out of nowhere with that. And don't need to watch this stuff from Bregman anymore here on 1420 in the morning, live on YouTube and Facebook Live. But enjoy the games, everybody. Have a great time. Make sure you hoist a couple of beers, and later on today, if you're so inclined, join me on playback. We're doing a live stream thing through Belly Up again. So I was going to watch the game anyway, so you guys might as well join me down here in the Yankee Tavern. We'll watch the game together and have a good time doing it, have some laughs, hoist a couple of beers and the like. But anyways, thank you very much once again. Caldera Labs. I tried their stuff. I was supposed to bring it. I'll do it tomorrow. They sent us a care package for us to try these goods and stuff. And my face is already, with youthful exuberance, already filled. Deanne said it's a funny thing. Enjoy the games, everybody, and remember, it doesn't matter where you are, it's who you're with. Have a good day, folks, and go Yankees.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Bunny some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back. Oh, it's root for the whole team. They don't win, it's a shame. Now it's 1, 2, 3 strikes. You're out at the old ball game.
Just listen to the 1420 Sports Bar podcast. 4 beer with the sports, talking a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Let's get into it.